Today we'll be discussing the You Are Not Alone campaign, which is targeted towards schools and educators as a program that teaches high school students about domestic violence, how to protect themselves, and the available resources. As domestic violence is a complex pattern of behaviours, by focusing the campaign towards high school students, it enables for the change of mind for the developing generations to understand the implications towards disrespecting women and being violent towards them. Domestic violence can be experienced by anyone of any gender, race, age, and location. However, in some areas it is more likely to occur. For example, in rural areas, the man knows there is nowhere to go and that no one can hear them. Therefore, it is extremely important that the education of domestic violence and how the individuals can protect themselves with self-defense is accessible for everyone. Domestic violence is a problem as it can severely damage both the physical and mental state of an individual, and in particular for children, where girls blame themselves, questioning whether or not they triggered the behaviour is potentially their fault, rather than questioning the behaviour of the male. Domestic violence, specifically in children, is common due to the vulnerability they have. In 2016, a personal safety survey estimated that around 1 in 6 women and 1 in 9 men experience physical or sexual abuse before the age of 15. As statistics show that violence occurs frequently for younger children, it is important and detrimental that the process of education begins at a young age, as domestic violence attackers most commonly have experienced a form of harassment themselves, which begins the cycle. This is defined by the ways in which abusive partners keep a target in a relationship, spanning subtle behaviours as well as physical and visible violence. Therefore, by educating students at an early age, they can be aware of the specific triggers to look for in their own relationships or in others. These things include accuses you of having an affair, blames you for abuse, criticises you, tells you what to wear and how you should look, threatens to kill you or someone close to you, throws things or punches walls when angry, and yells at you and makes you feel small. When these signs show up in a partner, a child has learned to recognise them in order to protect themselves or protect someone else who may be a victim. The purpose of the campaign is to grow and educate a future generation where they are aware of the negatives of domestic violence and are able to be aware and prevent violence from occurring in the future by understanding the triggers, signs, and knowing how to escape. Additionally, by educating the school children, it allows for an extra set of eyes to recommend the reliable sources if they see someone, for example, a friend or a family member, who is in a violent situation. The focus of the campaign is to attract schools to think about how they have educated their students and research into the tutorials and workshops that are available from the You Are Not Alone campaign and the benefits it can have on the community. With 1 in 4 women young, and the benefits it can have in the community. With 1 in 4 young people don't think it's serious when a guy insults or verbally harasses them in the street. It is evident that actions need to be implemented for behaviour change to occur. You Are Not Alone campaign will benefit from connecting the schools and children to a large variety of reliable sources. These include Beyond Blue, New South Wales Domestic Violence Helpline, New South Wales Rape Crisis, eSafety Women, and Men's Line. Each of these support services are designed for a particular need and can help direct each individual case and help them protect and provide information on how they can stop. By educating the children at an early age, as domestic violence can happen at any stage in an individual's life, it opens up the child's services to seek help in case anything does happen to them or someone else in the future, so they are prepared and know how to escape. The campaign will strictly focus on 2 split seminars, with the first being education and the second physical and self-defense. Self-defense is the training and techniques necessary to defend yourself when targeted by crime or violence. The campaign will encourage the use of self-defense and allow the audience to recognize the impact that it can have in a matter of saving victims' life. A study from the University of Oregon found that women who participated in self-defense classes felt they had better safety strategies in place, were more equipped to deal with strangers and people they know in context of potential assaults or abuse had a more positive feelings about their body and increased their self-confidence. Not only did self-defense help the individuals with learning how to defend, it increased their confidence, and studies show that the individuals were more confident and content with their bodies after the self-defense course. Now I'll pass over to Dylan, who will talk about segmentation.
The target segmentation is an important component of any marketing campaign, delving into the critical factors that determine what segmentation of society best suits the goal of the campaign. The You Are Not Alone campaign seeks to use a differentiated target market strategy, targeting a younger demographic, focusing on both male and females between the ages of 13 to 18 within urban areas of Sydney. This target segmentation encompasses both victims and non-victims of physical and psychological domestic violence, resulting in two different stages of segmentational change. The first stage of change is in relation to non-victim children regarding domestic violence. This campaign strives to create awareness to those in the pre-contemplation stage. Whether unaware or ignorant of its detrimental effects, the campaign sheds light on the issues of domestic violence suffrage in Australia, as over 3.6 million individuals are directly impacted by such violence every year. The second stage of change is towards the victimized children within the contemplation and preparation stages. Through providing information about identifying signs of domestic violence and knowledge as to where to seek help, this campaign encourages these victims to make the behavioral change of seeking assistance rather than dealing with such violence and accepting it as a part of their upbringing. I will now pass on to Tania, who will discuss the campaign objectives and goals.
Thank you, Dylan. Following on, we will now outline the objectives and goals set for the You Are Not Alone campaign. Firstly, we will discuss the ideal behaviour changes our target audience will make after engaging with our campaign. As illustrated on the slide, the primary objective is to increase young people's ability to identify signs of violence and abuse in their domestic spaces. We also want them to seek help when they're feeling unsafe, scared, or neglected. These two behaviour changes have been selected as, in conjunction, they can have the most impact on the target audience, given that they're more likely to adapt under their potentially dangerous circumstances. On a secondary level, we would like the target audience to access the resources we have provided them. The use of resources will eventually lead to a further change in behaviour where they're able to stay safe. This behaviour objective was set as there is an opportunity to measure any increase in the use of resources. Typically, in order to undergo a change of behaviour, you need to know something about it. This is why we've taken careful consideration in setting our knowledge objectives. First and foremost, we want our target audience to be educated on how to recognize and identify what constitutes as domestic violence. According to research from Our Watch, 1 in 3 young people do not think that controlling someone is a form of violence. They also found that these young people are comfortable with coercive and disrespectful behaviors, they're more likely to justify violence, and they believe that being masculine means exerting power and control over their partners. We believe that providing young people with the knowledge that violence appears in varying forms can help those who are suffering perform behaviour changes and seek help. Continuing on, after engaging with our campaign, we ideally want target audiences to believe that violent behaviour is not excusable or acceptable. We have drawn upon the social norms approach to behaviour change, which states that target audiences might have a mistaken perception of the normal attitudes and behaviours of others. Evidently, we are seeking to correct these misperceptions and show young people that violence is wrong. Furthermore, we are aiming to empower young people with the understanding that they are not alone in their situations. We want to remove any stigma of seeking help and let them be aware that they are capable of experiencing the positive benefits from changing their behaviour. Furthermore, the main goal for the campaign is to see an increase in young people seeking help and staying safe in their household. According to data from Kids Helpline, one of the most used resources for young Australians, they received only 5,173 calls in the year 2017 regarding children and young people with child abuse concerns, domestic violence, and family violence. However, figures from the Australian Institute of Health and Welfare show that roughly 225,000 Australians children are suspected of being harmed or at risk of harm from abuse and/or neglect. Evidently, this shows that a large proportion of youth are not reaching out for support from these services, and there is a need for growth. As such, the SMART goal set for the campaign is to increase young Sydney people that are aged 13 to 18, their engagement with self-help resources such as helplines by 10% in the next 24 months. I will now pass on to Raphael.
Thank you, Tania. My name is Raphael, and I will be covering our group's positioning statement and product offerings for the You Are Not Alone campaign. Our campaign's positioning statement is, we want males and females aged 13 to 18 years old to be aware of and able to identify abusive relationships and learn how and where to seek help as more important and beneficial than remaining ignorant or unaware of a prevalent, invasive, and stigmatized behavior suffered by over 3.6 million Australians. The You Are Not Alone campaign uses a behavior-focused positioning strategy to influence our target audience to develop new behavior change against domestic violence. The You Are Not Alone campaign's core product is to raise awareness of domestic abuse among a high school-age target audience and develop their ability to identify signs of a domestic abuse and know where to seek help. The benefit of this selection is that we believe that a campaign which targets the victims and bystanders of domestic abuse is able to affect significant behavior change, as if students are made aware of and can identify signs of domestic abuse, they can change the behavior early. Our campaign's actual product is developing behavior in students to be able to identify signs of abusive relationships among their peers whilst learning to seek help. This includes tangible methods of education through in-school seminars and education pamphlets. Lastly, the augmented products of our campaign consist of in-school seminars coordinated by specialists with tailored presentations, depending on the year group being spoken to. Students are provided with educational pamphlets that summarize the seminar points along with providing links for services like 1-800-RESPECT and Lifeline. Additionally, the campaign maintains a website and mobile app, which provides additional educational resources for these students. The purpose of these products is to aid our target audience in affecting the behavior change. The augmented product offering is attractive to the target audience because of the depth of education provided to help develop target audience's awareness and response to domestic abuse among their peers. I will now pass it off to Dylan, who will speak again about the price for our You Are Not Alone campaign.
The price component of our campaign plays a critical role in directing the target market to adopt and perform a desired behavior. There are two desired behavior changes that our campaign strives to achieve. Firstly, by providing a blanket approach in informing all children between the ages of 13 to 18 of domestic violence, an increase in non-monetary costs through negative public recognition is achieved. This goal is met through eradicating the stigma of not discussing domestic violence and creating a prominent negative social association towards such violence, enabling the younger generation to carry this social norm and openness into the future. This enables the campaign to not only have a short-term effect on domestic violence awareness, but to strive towards making an impact over a lifelong time frame, influencing the way in which the children of today will raise and interact with their own children in the future. The second desired behavior is focused on the short-term impacts of children victimized by domestic violence, striving to invoke and achieve desired behavior of identifying domestic violence occurring, reaching out, and seeking help. This is attained through incentivizing a decrease in non-monetary physical and psychological costs, through the obvious reduction in domestic violence, thus creating an association between seeking help and feeling safe and not alone. I'll hand over to Coco now, who will discuss the campaign place and promotion components.
Thanks, Dylan. I will now be discussing our campaign's place and promotion. You Are Not Alone uses several place strategies to reach the audience through several channels. As the seminars and posters will be delivered in schools and classrooms, the campaign is strategically being where the target audience hangs out, shops, dines, or works. The website and the application uses a strategy of working with existing distribution channels. As students will take the information pamphlets home, the campaign also utilizes a strategy of being where behaviours could occur and being there at the point of decision making. As you can see, the campaign works with several distribution channels that all have a significant role in exposing the campaign to the target audience. Now I will further discuss each promotion strategy that you can see here. Several forms of promotion will be used throughout the campaign. Traditional media channels like posters and pamphlets are used, as well as non-traditional channels like websites and applications, as well as social media platforms like Instagram, Facebook, and Snapchat that will be used directly to communicate with the target audience on these platforms. Through using a relatable Australian singer such as Nikki Webster, who was a victim of domestic violence, the campaign hopes to reach the target audience more effectively. Nikki will be our spokesperson as she will post videos on all platforms, and these videos will be shown in seminars at schools. Through social media platforms, the application and website, Nikki will share personal experiences and encourage the target audience to download the app and seek help. Here you can see our poster uses one-sided message that is simple and clear, straightforward, easy to remember, and emotionally provocative. This message presents the positive attitudes associated with the desired behaviour. Posters will be given to schools to be displayed around the school grounds, and will have instructions on how to access the website and download the application. The website will be simple and clear, and will have information about the campaign as well as instructions on how to access the application. The website will also be used to promote the campaign to schools. The website can be used to work with schools and also inform the other schools about the program. A phone application will be a safety app that will be available for download. The app will include several help services and chat rooms, which will aim to prevent violence before it happens. This will also instill a sense of community within the individual as they can message trusted sources and call emergency services immediately. That is all from our campaign today. Thank you for listening.